Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm the King and welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. Today we're going to be talking about the clown in Dead by Daylight, the updated clown in the PTB, and where does he stand on that tier list? How much has he improved or maybe went down compared to where he was before? So in this video, that's what we're going to be talking about. But before we go ahead and talk about this video, today we have a sponsor. And today's sponsor is Monster Legends. You can download Monster Legends down in the link below and get yourself some cool rewards, but we're going to talk about that in a second. Monster Legends is a free-to-play game that's available both on Android and iOS devices. There are hundreds of different monsters to collect, and you can even breed two monsters together to get new ones. Not to mention, you can feed your monsters and even take them into battle. There are a ton of different PvP modes, including some special dungeons and even an adventure map that you can fight in real time against your friends. There are many new events every single week to discover and play along with some brand new adventures. So again, click on the download link in the description and you'll get special rewards worth over $30. And this is going to include 50,000 food, an epic monster in Sibel, and 300,000 gold. So make sure you click on the link down below if you are interested in downloading Monster Legends. Alrighty guys, with that word from our sponsor, we can now carry on and talk about the clown and basically give our input on how good he is. Is he better? Is he worse? What does the new bottles do? What does his new add-ons do? And everything like that. So let's start out with the clown and what his initial problem was. Initially, the clown was introduced into the game as a counter to looping. This was when looping was still newer to the game, and this wasn't the direction that the devs wanted the game to go in, but eventually they realized that this is how it's going to be, and they needed to combat it. So in order to do so, they started adding in killers, they added in bloodlust that can combat these types of things. The clown was one of their first concepts of really trying to get a hold of everything, and his power was essentially made to cut off loops and to make loops shorter in order for you to succeed. Now obviously this came with a few flaws, hence why the clown was one of the weaker killers on the list. The first one being his add-ons. Most of his add-ons pretty much sucked. There was only about two good add-ons, which was the fast reloads and the exhaustion bottles. This obviously got fixed with the faster reloads and we no longer have exhaustion bottles, but we have a lot of other things to play with. So in that sense, he's been upgraded. Moving on forward, another major issue that the clown had that a lot of killers in the game right now also struggle with is the amount of time it takes for them to apply map pressure. How fast can they do map pressure? And with the clown just being a standard 115 killer, not being able to run around or teleport or fly across the map like some of these other killers, it was a very difficult time for him to deal with this. And with these brand new bottles that are introduced into the games that make you a little bit faster, it actually works quite well. You can also combine this with other add-ons, and I've been loving to do this, where you add the add-ons that make this invigorated effect last longer, combined with something like Cigar Box to see where the other survivors are at. This gives you an enormous speed boost that you can use to either apply some pressure on the map if used correctly, or to even use before a chase to cut your loops off way faster. Which brings us to our next point of the clown, which he didn't struggle all too much in, but still had some difficulties, which how much does his power help him in the chase? For the clown, his power did a pretty decent job. It forced survivors to either drop the pallets or go through vaults prematurely or just move on to a different section of the map. When playing against unexperienced survivors or using a perk like Save the Best for Last, it really came into play and allowed him to do this and make your chases go very short. With the brand new bottles, this works exceptionally well. I've played with it a lot, and at first I was like, man, these bottles really don't do anything. And the way that the devs intended for it to work was that it entices your survivors to go in to get a speed boost, which realistically made no sense to me, considering survivors would know that you're trying to do this and they would just completely avoid it, because why would you want to give them a boost? But if used in the opposite way to help yourself, as you're meant to do and meant to utilize correctly, it actually works in cutting off your very strong loops very quickly. I've gotten a bunch of hits that otherwise I wouldn't have gotten at some good loops on a lot of the reworked maps, and I'm sure on some of the other maps as well, it would come into play. So therefore, he's been upgraded in that sense as well. Now, all of this sounds great on paper, but we need to break down the fundamentals again and talk about the cons of these things. What are the drawbacks? Now, one of the major things that I hope gets fixed after the PTB, but does hinder the clown a little bit, is the amount of time it takes for your yellow smoke to activate. This takes about 3 seconds, and in order to really utilize this, you need to throw it ahead of you. Because of this, if you're in a tight situation by a loop or something and you want to get that extra boost, it just takes way too long for you to get it, and by the time you do, the survivor is already safe. If this was knocked down to 2 seconds or so, it would definitely help a lot more, but since it's not, it still only works for long distance map pressure or moving a little bit faster across the map, and if you're lucky to find another survivor. On top of that, some of the add-ons are still pretty reliant, considering that the yellow smoke invigorated effect doesn't last too long on you. It's only about 4 to 5 seconds. Don't quote me on it because I know I'm wrong about the timings, but I find myself using the add-ons to increase the time of this way often than I'm not. This just makes it way better than it already is, which add-ons are meant to do, but still at the same time, there's so many other stronger killers in the game that don't need any add-ons at all to do good, such as Freddy. So for that reason, we're going to bump the clown up on our list from normally where he's at in the C or D tier to lower B or upper C tier. I think he has a lot more in his kit to make him a lot more unique, but still not enough to put him over the top. Think about when we received changes to Freddy, for example, being one of the weakest killers in the game, or even Leatherface, one of the weakest killers in the game, and now they have a completely different style and agenda to them that makes them almost unstoppable if played correctly. With the clown, you don't really feel this over-sensing presence of doom is coming when you see the clown. You're like, oh my god, we lost the game. And I mean, frankly, you shouldn't be feeling that against any other killers. That's why Freddy's getting a nerf, but you don't feel that he's strong enough to really be too concerned about. Sure, if you play against a good clown, he'll do really good, but he's just your average killer that you'll be like, alright, it's just a clown, we know what to do. Which is a good thing, it does bring for balance, but I still feel like if they really wanted to push him a little bit more, there are a few other things that they could have changed with him to make him a little bit better. So to answer the question on where the clown now falls on the list, it is lower B or upper C. There still is a lot more things that they could do, and hopefully they will do after the PTB with feedback from all of us that could make them a little bit better, but for now, that's where we're going to rank them. Now, when the PTB is finally over and when the patches and changes are out to whatever changes those are going to be, we can accurately rank them on the tier list, which you guys are going to be seeing in a few weeks from now, talking about everything. But ladies and gentlemen, that is pretty much going to wrap up this video on my opinions on the clown. I love him, I always have, and I think he's a really awesome and fun killer to play as, and now there's a lot more to him that will definitely enhance that experience, so I'm excited to see what they're going to bring forth after the PTB. On the other hand, which we'll probably say for another video, the PTB was a little bit of a mess with a ton of bugs and some very wonky movements and a very interesting HUD. So hopefully they look into all of that, and we'll probably talk about that in another video. But ladies and gentlemen, that is going to wrap it up for this video. I hope you guys did enjoy. Let me know down below what you guys think about the clown. Do you think he's awesome? Do you think he's still weak? Do you think he's alright? I would love to hear your opinions down below. Make sure you check out the sponsor as well, Monster Legends, in the description. Shout out to them again for sponsoring this video. And as always, I'm the King. I tip my crown to you guys, and we'll see you in the fog.